Hello everybody, this is Yasmin from Yarkspiri fantasyart.com, and today I'm actually going to be going through three different tools to give you a general idea of how they're used and how to properly use them. Now, first off, last week I covered the eyedropper and color sample tool. Now, there was three other tools I didn't get to cover, so I'm going to be covering the ruler tool, the note tool, and the count tool today. Let's first go to the ruler tool. So I'm just going to click on that. Now this tool does have several different functions that you can actually use it for. When I was first learning Photoshop, I did some research and I discovered that this tool is actually normally used for law enforcement for actually measuring the scale of objects within a photo. This works for both scaled objects and people as well. So what you're doing is you're setting up a comparison between the two. Now, I'm just going to give you guys the basic breakdown for now, but it does have several different applications just to this one tool that I won't be covering today. So as you can see, my cursor has changed, so it actually shows that it's a ruler plus tool. So it's allowing me to set up a marker. So if I set up a marker here for my character, and if I look on top here, you'll notice that it gives me the measurements. So these are a variety of measurements that can be useful depending on how you're using it. Now, you'll also see that I have an option here to use a measurement scale. In order to use that measurement scale properly, you have to go to Analysis, Set Measurement Scale, and you have to custom your settings. So if you happen to know the exact size of a certain object within an image that you want to set as your current measurements, you can actually do that by clicking this and also setting your measurement scale units. But as it stands for drawing purposes, you won't be using that, so I'm not going to cover this in detail yet. Now, this does have a secondary option too. You can actually straighten out a crooked image. So I'm just going to clear this first. So I got rid of my ruler there, and I'm actually going to turn this over. So I just changed I've actually just tilted my text just so I can quickly show you how to use this. So if I select the bottom of this, I can actually choose to straighten this. And if you look, so as you can see, it actually took the information I gave it because I outlined the bottom of my text and used that as the measurement from which it's going to compare everything else for the straightening of the tool. Now, if I click this here and I want to essentially re-straighten that, I can do that. I can click here. And what it does is it straightens it out according to my new measurement that I've given it. Now, as you notice though, it did create some clipping issues. If I go back to that and I try to straighten that, you'll notice that when I try to straighten that, I have to do it individually because it's not going to allow me. Now, the only problem with this tool is it actually crops the image the moment you do this. So depending on what type of editing you're trying to do, it can cause some issues because essentially it's just using that as a general information to turn image, but then it crops it to get rid of most of the white around it, which can be problematic depending on what you're doing. So just something to keep in mind if you're using this tool. So we're going to go to the note tool now. So this tool is normally used if you're trying to create notes for later on. So let's say I'm sending an image, a PSD file to a client or to my supervisor, and I need them to give me some feedback. If I was that client or supervisor, I could literally just click on here, write a note. Maybe I wanted somebody to straighten the flattened text image text that I have here. I can simply write a note saying that. Now if I click here, I could write another note. Maybe I want to crop this image to a specific size, like 11 by 14. I can easily do that. I just made the note crop image to 11 by 14. I do have a couple different options. I can change the color of this note to maybe it's an orange or bright bright pink. I could easily do that. I could change it to blue if I wanted to. Doesn't really matter. That's easy to set. I can also change the author. So if I needed to know who these revisions were from, if I had to set up a priority between them, I could easily do that. So I could put in Yasmin, which is my name, as an author. Now if I want to just click on one of these so I can edit it without having to switch to the select tool, I have to right click on it and choose open note, and that will allow me to select a previous note. And I could change this maybe to Yaz. And maybe I want to close the note, delete the note. I could delete all my notes at the same time. I have the option to do all that. I can actually also hide all my notes just by clicking this. So essentially what this button does is it shows me on the side panel here my text, but let's say I don't want to see that. It's cluttering up my desktop and I need more room to work. I can just click this and it'll hide it for me. It won't show it to me. If I want to remove all these notes, I can easily do that just by hitting the clear all button. So once I hit that, it's going to give me a little warning, and I just hit OK, and it removes all the notes. So that's the note tool. Very useful if you're getting revisions or you're sending files back and forth, or you need to revise something later but you don't have time. Now this is the count tool. What you normally use the count tool for is to count objects that are too numerous to count by hand or is easy to lose track of. So let's say I'm trying to count how many letters are in my image word here. Okay, click on here. You can see it creates a nice little number on there. There's also a marker though, but unless I change the marker size, I won't be able to see it. So if I just up the size of that, you'll notice that the marker changes so that's more visible. I can also change the label size, so that's the number size, to make it even bigger. I don't want it that big, so I'm just going to change it to 10. And I can click on each of these letters and it'll count them for me. As you can see, it's just numbered them 1 to 5. Now I can change the name of this group because I currently have this group selected, this numbering group. I could rename it. So I could rename this as the image group. Image group. Okay. I can also hide these. If I don't want to see it anymore, if I don't need it anymore, I can easily hide it. I can also create a new group. So I'll just create a new group now, and I'll name it flattened text. Okay. And I'm going to change the color here to maybe a green. Okay, so I just changed my color to green now. So if I just click on this flattened text, it's just going to start numbering these letters for me. And as you can see, it starts back at 1 and then to 9, so I have 9 letters in here, and it tells me up here exactly how many it's counted for me. It also gives me the total of all the items I've counted within the image as well. Now, if you do run into any problems with the numbers not resetting, as long as you have your flattened text selected, which is essentially the group for this, I can always hit clear, and it will clear all the information just for that group, and I can just restart labeling it, and it'll restart it to the appropriate number. Sometimes that can happen. It's rare, but if it does happen, that's all you have to do. It's really fast to do this anyway, so you shouldn't lose too much time. Just watch out though if it doesn't set it to the initial numbers that you need it to continue countering from. Now, let's say I don't like any of these. I want to get rid of it. I can hit the little trash here and it'll throw that out. So that entire group has been removed. It's no longer within my group list, so I can't select it anymore. And that's pretty much it for the number tool. Now, what cases would you use this number tool? In most cases, if you needed to use this numbering tool, it would be if you were counting something that had just way too many objects in it and they were just too similar, or there's too many variety and too much in that one image. So a good example would be, so maybe you're counting gumdrops, or maybe you're counting the number of teddy bears surrounded by fuzzy bunnies. I don't know what it might be that you're counting, but the moment you have too numerous of an amount to count an item, this tool would be beneficial to you, and that's when you would use this tool. So that's it for this week's tutorial, and I hope to see you guys soon. So thank you and take care.